Hello, everybody. It's Barb Dunn here with our Keeping Locals Local podcast, and I'm here with Judith Rosenberg, and our special guest today is Teresa Villaruz. Hello, Teresa.
Hi. Hey, Barb. Hey, Judith. How are you both doing today?
Doing great. Really glad to see you again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Real briefly, we went out to dinner actually with Teresa in Monterey when we were at the Owners Club retreat. So we briefly got to know her walking down the street. We were in a big group, so we didn't get to talk much at dinner. But so tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate and what you're working on and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Teresa Villaruz, I am actually here in Monterey Bay, so it wasn't that much of a trip for me to go to Owners Club. Our house is about 10 minutes door to door to the hotel, so it was great. I was able to sleep on my own bed at night.
That's appealing.
Yes. About starting in real estate. Yes. So my husband and I actually have been in real estate since 2011. So right at the very bottom of that crash, we didn't know that was the very bottom of the crash when we purchased our own property, our first property. We thought that, regardless whether it keeps going down or it starts picking back up, we just have to take that leap of faith, right? Our strategy at that time was live and flip. So we would purchase a home that need dire renovation, but because we couldn't afford 2 mortgages, we decided that, okay, we'll renovate the property while we're living in it.
Smart. So, which hard though. That's a challenge. I've done that.
Yes, but it worked out for us because at that time, it was just my husband and I. We didn't have our daughter just yet, so we were able to do that.
We talk about where's the kitchen, because the kitchen was on wheels. Has anybody seen the
kitchen? Yeah, I've done that too. You can walk with it.
Yeah, and our plates were paper plates, and it's
washing dishes in the bathtub.
We moved in our first house without any running water. We lived in every single room.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead. Fond memories.
Yeah, I mean, so it was live and flip. I tell you, the first property that we got, it was a condo. And at first it looked, when we walked the property the first time, we're like, okay, this is going to be an easy, reno, right? Because it looked pretty decent inside, thought so. But after we got the keys and got in there and really decided okay, what are we going to do with this property? It was pretty much a gut which was actually a blessing in disguise now that I think about it, because one, we gained the experience, and two, also because if we were just to paint the walls and replace the floors and just really lipstick renovation, we wouldn't have found out that there was mold behind the walls. And we would be living and getting sick and all that stuff, right? I mean, this was gut reno. I'm telling you, when we walked the property, it looked pretty, but then when we really took a look at it, the bedroom walls were covered in stucco. Who would put exterior covering interior? So that
people are very creative.
I'm telling you. So we had to really get it down to the pretty much almost the studs, right? In the bedrooms, at least the bathrooms really needed renovations. And but that experience, was great, because then we know exactly how to budget for renovation and all that stuff. And the funny thing is obviously with live and flip, we stayed there for a few years. One, the reason why we also did that is not just because we couldn't afford 2 mortgages, but also to avoid the capital gains tax on that. So that's what we did. And we sold our first property 2.5x of what the cost of purchasing the property and the renovation cost. So that was, and that was oh my gosh, we could do this again. So we did that until so we did the live and flip strategy until the pandemic. The pandemic was okay, well, we don't know when things were going to go back to normal. We were looking for our next project, actually, and pandemic hit, and we're like, okay, well, let's see. At that time, construction workers weren't considered essential workers just yet. So we're like, okay, month one, nothing. Month two, nothing. It's not back to normal. We're like, we can't do this, right? So we decided to just cash out on our home, which was great because people were like buying left and right, and we sold our last home with about close to 700K in equity on that one.
Wow.
Pulled that out, purchased our forever home here in Monterey. So we moved from San Jose, California to Monterey Bay, and used some of that equity to purchase buy and hold. So now we have midterm rentals and short-term rentals. Realize that short-term rental isn't my jam. Because as much as people say that, you could hire this, hire that, and be as passive as possible, it's not as passive as I would like, at least. So now we're pivoting. We're trying to either, I'm not sure if we want to liquidate our properties yet. We might pivot and turn them into either midterm rentals or co-living spaces. So that's what we're debating right now, my husband and I, especially. But it's the cool thing is I'm in this room, right, with the owners club folks who can tell me like, okay, this is their experience in co-living, this is their experience in midterm rentals. And contacts in Southern California as well, where one of our midterm rentals that we want, short-term rental that we want to convert is actually in Coachella Valley.
Oh, that's a good place.
It was a good place for short-term rental, especially with the festivals, right? But during the summer months, like right now, it's pretty much dead because who wants to go when it's 120 degrees out?
Yeah, right. I do midterm rentals with furnish finders right now, and that's working out really well. Traveling nurses, it's been great. And then I also have long-term co-living stuff in Vermont, but that's college kids. But furnish finders, everything is done for you. The leases, it's a pretty nice system.
Yes.
You're aware of furnish finders, yeah.
Yes, so we do have midterm rentals as well, but focused in Vegas right now. What I'm finding that market is really good for us, at least, because our condos, they're in the middle of 3 major hospitals there. And then also because of the Nellis Air Base, right? And then also because there's so much construction happening in Vegas that I'm finding a lot of construction workers also booking our units. So, and that is actually a little bit more my taste, the midterm rentals, because people book your property for, just a place to sleep because they're working throughout the day, right?
Exactly.
And they're not trying to party or do any of that stuff. Like the guests that I usually get for especially in the Coachella property, is because festivals, people want to party and all that stuff. So I tell you, like, furniture's been damaged so many times over there. So yes.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you with that one. That one's tough. And then
we're actually looking at a potential midterm rental for affordable infill housing. It's right next to the major hospital in Oakland, California, where we can build 3 additional ADU units in the back. So take it from a 4-plex to 7.
Oh man. Yeah. I think that's also that's what fascinated me about you, Judith. Actually, we met at Squad Up.
Yes. I remember you clearly. Out of all those people, I remember you.
Thank you. Yeah. So sat next to Judith and Mr. Michael, and just had a really good conversation about their experience, 40 years, right, or more in real estate. And I'm just like fascinated, and you're still going through it. And I want to have that, that history in the future. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, mutual.
Yeah, but that's the story in terms of not short term, but my real estate experience. And right now, I'm actually partnering with people in North Carolina. I'm looking to expand my market. Right now, we're just here in California, in Vegas and surrounding areas, and then we're trying to expand in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and surrounding areas. Because one, for me, I like having boots on the ground, and those are the 2 or 3 areas where I have relatives who are also in the construction business. So my sister is a GC in Vegas, and her husband is an electrician and owns his own company. So I have boots on the ground there and contacts in terms of like, okay, I need renovation on this unit for forced equity or whatnot. And then in Fayetteville, my husband's cousin is actually a GC, so we're expanding our market there.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's a great area to be investing now.
Yes,
Retiring to North Carolina instead of Florida. They don't want to sink into the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Among other things, there's so many things that I'm doing. So I'm also a Gator. So most of what I'm doing in Gator is I'm actually a connector for a hard money lender, and then also transactional lending, as well as what I'm building out right now is what I call the Thrive movement, and I'm trying to help more people get into the PML side or PMP side with my Mount Everest, which is what I call the Thrive movement. A little bit about that is that my Mount Everest is, I'm hoping to help 5,000 people in 5 years get out of their cycle of just, hustling to survive and get them into thriving mode. And the way I do that is, again, the Thrive movement, which has 3 pillars. The first pillar has something to do with my active income. So outside of real estate, I'm a financial strategist, and I focused on infinite banking. Infinite banking, for those who don't know what that is that it's essentially leveraging the right type of life insurance let's backtrack. Thrive banking is essentially replicating what the banks are doing, right? The banks are good at doing 2 things, and that's one, getting high returns when they deploy money out, right? So they'll get anywhere from 5% to 30%. Credit cards nowadays are, 29.5%, which is insanely high. So replicating that. And then second is the second thing that they're really good at is leveraging OPM and not taking any risk, right? Because the money that they deploy to, mortgages, car loans, credit card loans, it's not their money, it's our money, the depositors.
Absolutely.
We deposit the money, they deploy it immediately, and they get those high returns. And because they're using our money, it's only right for them to share some of that revenue. So they give us 0.25%. Very generous of them, right? And so those are the 2 things that we're trying to replicate with Thrive Banking. One is, how can we get people who actually need it, right? Not the banks, but us. How do we get those high returns? And 2, how do we transfer the risk so that our money is safe? And so Thrive Banking is what we're doing. And that's leveraging a cash value life insurance policy in order to do that. So once let's just say they flow their money in a cash value life insurance policy, these types of policies have 2 components to it. One is that obviously it's life insurance. So if anything happens to you, family is okay, financially at least, right? And second is that it's attached to your policy, whether you use it or not. And that is a high yield savings account, or what I like to call a high yield savings account. In the industry, it's called an account value or cash value. And the reason why I call it similar to a high yield savings account is because that savings account could earn anywhere from 3.5%, 6, 7, 8, or even more, depending on the type of policy that you get and how you allocate your money within that asset, right? So let's just say that your money goes into this, you flow it into a policy first, and it's earning average 6%. Being conservative here, 6%. my policy is earning 8% right now, but let's just say it's earning 6%. You flow your money in there before you invest in real estate, right? So let's just say it's earning 6%. The second part is the pillar of my Thrive movement is what I call the Thrive Capital Collective. Essentially, it's a real estate investment group that we're building, or club within Fractional. Essentially, people will then jump in here. The problem that I'm seeing in Gator, actually, the reason why I built this is the problem I'm seeing in Gator is that people come in Gator because it's a lower barrier to entry compared to sub 2 or owners club, right? It's just a couple $1,000, and PACE teaches us how, and be part of a community that teaches us how to lend money out. But people come into Gator thinking that the $5,000 that they have in their bank is enough to lend out. But then you see all these deals that come in, and minimum is $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. And months of seeing that and not seeing an opportunity where you can put your $5,000 in, a lot of people then, because of, seeing this, get discouraged and eventually fall back and then not come back at all. And so that's the thing that I want to help, Gators, or people who have they don't have a lot of money to invest in real estate, but what they can do is, once they have equity in their policy, jump into this club with us, right? As a unit, we'll discuss what are the good, we'll learn and grow together, discuss which projects are worth our funding and things like that. So once we have enough money in that club, we then transition into the third pillar of the movement, which is what I call the Thrive Impact Projects. Now, the Thrive Impact Projects aren't my projects. It's projects from other people, purpose-driven people. Mostly I'm seeing them in Owners Club, right? Are people who have projects with heart. For example, my friend James Chavez, he's building a portfolio of co-living properties, and his mission is to help provide safe housing plus mentorship to kids aging out of the foster care system.
Perfect.
It's a really good cause. One is because not is he only tackling the situation of children who are being forced into adulthood without any mentorship or coaching. And because of that, if they don't get coaching on how to become adults and how to, manage finances and all that stuff, they end up being homeless in 18 months, right? 50% of kids aging out of the
50%.
And that's heartbreaking. So now he's also tackling the homeless epidemic that we're seeing in this country, because a lot of them are kids who aged out and didn't know how to adult. Right? So those are the types of projects that we want to fund with our club. These are projects that not only will help us as investors thrive, but will also help the community, the society thrive as well. So double impact.
Right. Wow. That's right. I'm really interested in your model because, as you know from talking to my husband, Michael, he's a financial advisor and has used these products. I used to help him. I'm not doing that anymore, but I know how they work, and it's the best way for people who don't have a lot of money to start accumulating wealth.
Absolutely.
But also we would like to use your model to build our own fractional, but also partner with you on some of these deals, because we're working on affordability from a different angle than what you described, but it's with the same heart and mission that we need to help everybody have a good home and be part of a healthy community and keep people local to where they're from, instead of they're having to move someplace they don't want to be because they can't
drive to work.
Drive an hour and a half. I mean, you're in California, you know how ridiculous it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Idaho, same thing. People are driving an hour and a half one way just to get to work, and that just that's just not right. That's how I got started. All my friends that I moved here 8 years ago, and all my friends are moving away that I've met. And you've been here 30 years. Where are you going? Yeah. Well, I can't live here anymore. I have to have 4 jobs, and I'm in my 60s, and I don't want to do it anymore. So it's just so sad. So that's what got me. I was like, okay, maybe I can make a dent in this affordable thing. So that's kind of where I chimed in. So, but yeah, I would love to. We Judith touched briefly upon what we're thinking, but we're looking at getting fourplexes and then being tenants in common and being able to sell off the properties individually so people can live and move into something that's not over $1 million.
Yeah.
Because who can afford that when you're in your 30s and you're
Right.
making good money, but you can't afford. So that's kind of, and then adding ADUs in backyards of existing properties as well.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do that nationwide. And I don't know if did we talk briefly about the Orbit program?
No.
When we were together. Well, we have a great team, 7 people actually. And I'm going back to what you were saying, boots on the ground. I don't know if you met Lizette Rosales.
No.
She's a character. So her business is she moves people. So she has teams all over the nation. So she can move 15,000 people in 45 minutes from one location to the next. I mean,
wow.
that's her business. So she's helping us establish boots on the ground in all these different locations, because you're right, it's just critical. And then Judith has been working with a gentleman named Clyde, who's been her project manager. He's willing to go on site throughout the nation and help get things organized. So Lizette would be there using her connections with her team, like, hey, do you know a good GC? And they would bring on, and then Clyde would go and oversee them, make sure the project happens, and then we move on to the next. So you're so right that you need a team. You do.
You do.
So you're a busy lady. You're doing a lot of different things.
A lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. We're all trying to do a lot. It's
Together sometimes.
yeah. Just have to remember to slow down. And I loved the breathing exercise that Jamil did. That's been really helpful. So we're coming up to our time. So how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is actually Instagram. You guys can see on my name right there. It's Build Wealth with Trey. Instagram, send me a DM, follow me, engage on my content. That's exactly